Assalamu alaikum dear students, myself Dr. Saida Noreen and I am back with the revision of electrostatic class with intuition and animation to make your physics more interesting. My dear students, physics is not a boring subject, rather it is a very interesting subject. All the thing is you have to develop an understanding with it. For this purpose, I have added animated videos in my lecture today about Coulomb's law and Gauss's law to enhance your intuition. Let's watch. In this video, you can see that teacher is trying to teach her students about Coulomb's law. F is equal to K Q1 Q2 over R square. It describes the force interacting between static electrically charged particles, where F is the electrostatic force, Coulomb's force, K is Coulomb's constant, Q1 and Q2 are the magnitude of the charges, and R is the distance between them. But what is this? The students are getting bored because they are not relating their topic with a previously studied topic in their course. Let's try another way. Now she thinks that she has to relate her topic with a previously studied topic of gravitational force or the Newton's law of gravitation. So by this the students can compare the gravitational force and Coulomb's force, and by this way they can develop an understanding of the Coulomb's force much more better than the previous. Now you can see that how they are giving the answer to the teacher. Let's see what they remember. Do you remember the gravitational law? The students are telling the answer, of course, F is equal to G m1 m2 over R square. Back to our new force now, which is a Coulomb's force, and compare this formula of gravitational force with your Coulomb's force. Do you think this force acts on a macroscopic or a microscopic level? The students are giving her reply, maybe a microscopic, otherwise we would already know about it. क्योंकि जो आपने प्रीवियस टॉपिक पढ़ा था वो किसके बारे में पढ़ा था? न्यूटन लॉ ऑफ ग्रेविटेशन जो आपने पढ़ा था वो बड़े मैसेज के बारे में था. सो दैट शुड बी मैक्रोस्कोपिक. बट नाउ दिस टॉपिक इज अबाउट माइक्रोस्कोपिक चार्ज पार्टिकल्स. Maybe it's the charge of the particles that it affects. Now the students are relating their topic with the previously studied topic of Newton law of gravitation. So what is the difference? The Newton law of gravitation is always an attracting force, but this force, which is a Coulomb's force, now you are studying, it may be attracting, may be repelling, depending upon the charges, whether you have similar charges or you have opposite charges. Mass is always positive. Charge can be either positive or negative. Yes, now the students are getting her point. Let's see what we have so far. We need a force that is affected by particle's charge, so it's both repelling and attractive. And it counters gravity. Let's see the gravitational law again. If the two forces need to be similar based on the equation on the board, what could be the equation for this new force, which is the Coulomb's force? Electric charge can replace the mass now. Yes, m1 and m2 will be replaced by q1 and q2. And we also need a new constant, the students are telling her. And that constant, rather than G, now you have K, which is a Coulomb's constant. That's great. Well done. This is known as Coulomb's law. You can also make the comparison of the Coulomb's force with this gravitational force. It describes the force interacting between static electrically charged particles. This is the definition of Coulomb's force now, and now the students are getting very well her points. Now, dear students, it's time to study about Gauss law, because Gauss law is also one of the important law of electrostatic like Coulomb's law. It also depends upon the two types of the charges, positive and negative charge. The electric field lines originate from the positive and ends at the negative charge. Because from the positive charge, the electric field lines are always outward, as you have studied earlier, and due to the negative, the electric field lines are always inward. Now, what is the statement of Gauss law? Gauss law relates the flow of electric fields through a given closed surface to the charges enclosed by this surface. This is a closed surface having the single plus q charge inside it. And there is another cubical closed surface having 2 plus q charge inside it. Now the number of electric field lines of two charges will be more as compared to a single charge. So what should be the flux? The flux of two charges, of course, should be greater as compared to a single charge. So the net electric flux is equal to the charge enclosed divided by epsilon naught, where epsilon naught is the permittivity of free space. Its value is 8.85 into 10 power minus 12. ये आपने पहले पढ़ा हुआ है कूलम्स लॉ के अंदर इसकी वैल्यू को. What is the meaning of enclosed? Enclosed का मीनिंग हमारे लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि इन चार्ज को इनक्लोज होना चाहिए विद इन द सर्फेस. अब आप ये देख सकते हैं, दिस चार्ज इज नॉट इनक्लोज इन द सर्फेस, इट इज़ आउटसाइड द सर्फेस. सो व्हाट शुड बी द फ्लक्स थ्रू इट? द फ्लक्स थ्रू इट शुड बी ज़ीरो, because the charge is not enclosed inside the closed surface. Why? ये इसलिए है कि जितना फ्लक्स उसमें इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड लाइंस एंटर कर रही हैं, द सेम नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड लाइंस आर लीविंग द सरफेस, सो द फ्लक्स शुड बी ज़ीरो. Now what we have studied today? There are the two types of the charges, positive and negative charges. The electric field lines always originate from the positive and ends at the negative charge. Also, these electric field lines are very much important to generate the flux. Now, dear students, I am going to illustrate the Gauss's law in detail. You can see that this is a point charge and these are the number of the charged particles, and the electric field lines are moving out, whether we have a single charge or we have the number of charges. Now, if these electric field lines are passing through a certain perpendicular area, then what should happen? Most of the electric field lines are passing through this area, and the flux should be maximum because theta is 0 in this case, and electric flux should be equal to EA. So a large amount of electric field lines are passing through this perpendicular area. Now when you move your area parallel to the direction of electric field lines, then there will be no flux because no electric field line will pass. So from the perpendicular area only, the flux should be maximum. Now if you move your point charge within the closed spherical surface, then what should happen? Can you calculate its electric flux? Yes, you can. The electric field lines are moving out through the closed spherical surface. So when you move this point charge in the spherical surface of radius r, the electric flux EA should be equal to Q over epsilon naught. Now, do you know about the area of the sphere? Yes, we all know. Area of the sphere is 4 pi r square. By putting this value of the area in our previous equation, we can calculate the electric flux as well as the electric field intensity through the closed spherical surface having the charge in it. Now we are going to study electric field due to an infinite plane sheet of charge, which is one of the application of Gauss law as you have studied earlier. Now you can see this is a plane sheet having the positive charge on it, whose surface charge density is sigma, which is equal to the charge per unit area. Now, due to the positive charge separated all over the plane sheet, the electric field lines will emerge from the top and as well as from the bottom of the plane sheet, as you can see. Now, consider a point P on the upside of the plane sheet having the distance r from the sheet, and also imagine a Gaussian surface, which is a cylindrical closed surface passing through this plane sheet, and its ends area will be A. Now only the ends of the cylindrical surface, upper edge and the lower edge, both these ends will participate in to generate the electric flux, and there is no electric flux through the central closed curved surface. So only the upper and the lower end of this Gaussian surface will give us the electric flux, and thus by which we can calculate its electric field intensity also, which is E. It's time to calculate the field due to a uniformly charged infinite sheet having the positive charge separated all over there, and sigma is the surface charge density. So you can get 2EA is equal to sigma A over epsilon naught, where the factor 2 comes due to the electric flux coming out from both the ends of the closed Gaussian surface. So A will be cancelled out and you can get E is equal to sigma over 2 epsilon naught. You can write its vector form also, that is E vector is equal to sigma over 2 epsilon naught into unit vector R. So this is the result of the application of Gauss law. Now dear students, this is Van de Graaff generator, which is one of the practical application of Gauss law, and it is composed of a metallic conductor. Here it is used for the demonstration of Gauss law, and here is one ball in the center and the two metallic balls are outside there, you can see. Now what is the working of this Van de Graaff generator? The outer balls having the similar charge as the central static ball. The central static ball will give its charge to the outer surface of the circle. That's why they are repelling. And when you discharge this Van de Graaff generator, the ball will drop. Again it becomes charged. So whenever it gets the charge, the outer small two balls will repel from the central ball and from each other, having similar charge. That's why they are repelling. That's all for today. Thanks for your attention. You can like, subscribe and share my channel. If you have any problem, you can comment me in the comment section. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.